My name is Charles C. Brave. I grew up in the Hulbert area on Ranger Creek deal here. Well, I was born in 1932, and my dad died when I was real young, and my grandma and grandpa raised me. Their names were Woodall. They're the ones settled the Woodall deal over on by Sequoia over, Bill Woodall was. And the Woodalls, they come, and my great-grandma, she came on the Trail of Tears for the enlisted, you know, her coming on the Trail of Tears when she was 6 years old. Back at the end, what Grandma and Grandpa told me, I didn't say I'd do it 30 minutes from now or something. I said, yes, sir, or no, sir. You know, I done it right then and there on the deal. You know, they never whipped me, but they could sure give me a good tongue lashing there once in a while. I had two full sisters, and they stayed with Mama, and Grandma and Grandpa took and raised me. They had a farm, 80 acres over on Ranger Creek, and that's where I grew up at. Well, I milked cows, I fed the horses, I fed the pigs, I fed the chickens, and Granny would send me to the chicken pen with she'd make a clabber milk, you know, make for the ducks and things, you know, and everything, and we'd feed them that, and feed the hogs, and we'd kill our own cows and hogs and butcher our own deals, you know. And every winter, that's what we lived on the creek there, and all the neighbors would come down and bring their hogs or whatever they had to kill, and they had a place to clean them right on the creek right there. You know, I grew up kind of by myself, but you know, we made our own entertainment back then. You know, now kids sit down, the first thing they whip out of their pocket is a telephone. I had my own rifle, 22, when I was real little. And he learned me how to do that, and mostly when I was in the woods hunting. If I was only a boy around in that neighborhood, and I was going hunting. On Saturdays now was ball day. Man, we had to make us a rag ball, and man, we had all kinds of fun with it. Had to make my own toys on our slingshots, our bean flips, our bow and arrows. And our LD guns, you know, there's a tree there, there was an elder, they call it elders, and it had a hole in the middle of it. It had a pulse, a white pulse, and you can cut off pieces about like that, and that would all punch out and would make paper wads. What it was, paper wad shooters. You'd chew up and put a stick in, you know, and push it like that, and more would pop like a shotgun, and just knock the fire out of somebody, you know. We'd play with it, you know, we'd shoot one another with it, you know. Paper wads ain't gonna kill you and thing, you know, but it would hurt sometimes. The boys, the marble games was coming in handy, and now kids don't know what a marble is. And we draw a big circle, and each one, then they put a line out there on the deal about 10 foot, and you throw a marble over and see who get close to the line. That'd be the first shoot, you know, go and get close to that. And you played for how many marbles you want to play for on that deal. You know, put in and knock them out, and as long as you knock them out, you keep it come out. The bean flips, you know, then they made some rubber red inner tubes, and man, them dudes, they had the rubber in them, they would stretch like nobody's business on the deal. And you could really make some good ones out of them, you know. They'd rock, you know, and shoot them birds. And that's what I'd do in the 80s. I'd slip around the hill, you know, in these trees and the leaves in the wintertime, you know, and shoot them jaybirds, you know, on the deal. That's where all my marbles went. The hill was full of marbles, for I shot all my marbles. Grandpa, he was a railroad man. He worked on the Katy Railroad, and he'd give me 3 shells a day, and that was my limit. For he'd give me a talking to. He said, "Now, son, you're doing a lot of shooting around here, and you love to shoot one of my cows." So he'd give me 3 shells, and I finally got where I could go out and I wouldn't just shoot, you know. I'd make sure I was going to hit something. And if a rabbit jumped up, Maybe I got one shot, but I sure would take a good aim. Then finally got where I'd kill one, then I'd kill two, you know, later on. And finally I'd make all 3 shots count. For me and them cottontail rabbits, I still like them if I can get them. I was raised right on the Ranger Creek, running right through the farm there. And generally about March the 1st, we was in the creek. It's a little cool, but we was in the creek. On weekends, we would all get together and we'd play in the flats, so we'd have a ball game all day long. Other kids would come, you know, they'd visit, you know, they had people live there. Well, the Davises and all of them, there wasn't about 5 families lived over there. And they would all have kinfolks come, they'd have a bunch of kids, and we'd all get together, and boy, Saturday was ball day, we was all ready to go. We didn't have no air conditioning, and me and Grandpa was a big old oak tree in the yard out there, and we had some of them old metal bed deals. He had one, and I had one. It's been a minute now. I'd lay down and look at the stars. I go to sleep looking at the stars and the moon. It was cool. About 50 somewhere in there. Well, they brought electric over the hill. And we finally got enough money or something to get us a water cooler. One of them big old water coolers. And man, we was in hog heaven then.
Did you have a well, or did you have to haul your water?
No, we had to haul it like this up out of that well. I did on the deal. And I can remember Grandpa would say on one of them well buckets, he said, "Now, don't stick your tongue in that well bucket when you're in the wintertime." For it grab you just like that, you know, when you're stuck.
So, did you ever do it?
Well, that was the first thing I done. I can remember one time he called me and going to, you know, sit down and talk to. For he'd shave with a straight razor. He'd make his soap up in a little deal and go and put it all over his chin, you know, and use that straight razor and cut his beard off. And he went to town one time and he left his razor strap hanging on the wall. Well, I'd watch him, you know, he'd take that razor and just like that and then turn it over. And I got that razor and I got that razor out, I went up and I cut it in two. I took and put it in a dresser drawer and laid it in there like it wasn't cut. And I'd watch him every evening. He'd come home, you know, and he shaved about 2 or 3 times a week, and I'd kind of forgot about it. 2 or 3 days went by, and then he hadn't called me yet. And one time I was out the barn, and he hollered for me, and I said, "Oh Lord, I know what had happened." He found that razor strap cut in two. And he went by, he called me and he said, "Come here, son." And we sat down there and he said, "Sit down here on the bed." So I sat on the bed. He said, "Why didn't you tell me that you cut my razor strap in two?" And I said, "Grandpa, I was scared to." He said, "What do you think I ought to do to you?" I said, "You should whip me. You ought to whip me if I cut it in two." So he said, well, he's talked some more of that, and he said, if anything else ever happens like this, I don't care what it is, you come and you tell me on the deal. You know, he didn't get tongue lashed me real bad or anything, and then I began to feel a little bit better, you know, and then finally he said, don't let it happen again. After I got big enough, well, I could catch a cab from Hulbert to Tulsa for 25 cents. I'd go up there and Granny'd give me a dollar or two, and I'd go to the show. I think the show was just about 25 cents. There was 3 theaters up there. I'd go to one theater, one night I'd go to the other theater, and the time I got all 3 of them on Saturday, it was getting dark, and boy, I'd head home. We were dirt poor, you might say, like church mice back there then. but we loved one another. We got along real good.